the GSL when he played against Idra very late in that tournament and did some of the craziest builds, including Contaminate with Overseers, stalling the larva production of Idra, and then really punishing him with a strong mid-game army. It's a matchup that he's always excelled in. He took out Stefano 2-0 this season in the groups, and it's just he's a bit of a Zerg sniper. So Sin definitely will have his hands full here. Couple that with the fact that Sin has not had good luck versus Koreans this season. He's actually not managed to take out a Korean at all throughout the groups, and I feel like maybe we have a Gamma Bears underdog.
I don't know. Sen finished the regular season, man, with 6-2. Sen is one of the top performers of all time in NASL history. Season 1 he got the bronze medal. Season 2 he managed to get the bronze medal. So in Season 3, man, he's aiming for nothing else than gold, I'd say, or at least silver. I mean, you gotta mix it up a little bit. You gotta collect them all. But what you said about Zenio having excellent ZVZ is definitely right. He also took out Heypro in the regular season, and they had this ridiculously crazy game on Ohana on the map that we are watching right now. If you guys haven't seen that game between Zenio and Heypro, you guys should check it out, and don't worry, it won't take a lot of your time, but it is definitely funny to see.
Incredible game. Came down to literally a couple of Zerglings. Yeah, Broodlings even. As both guys went with early pools, and it was just a micro battle that Zenio managed to come out on top of.
As we see, man, Zenio is going head first over here while Sen started off with the spawning pool. He spotted that drone. Did Sen actually scout? No, Sen didn't really scout, so he was a little bit paranoid about this drone over here from Zenio idling at the edge of his creep, which people often like to do to build a spine crawler. As you can see, Sen being really paranoid about that, but Sen, you actually have nothing to worry about. Zenio's doing the most economic opening possible.
Yep, and Sen's is not much worse. Pool into expand without gas being taken. This build's gaining a lot of popularity as it's safer against early pool stuff than like Hatch First, obviously. But it's not really much worse economically. You get the faster queen. I suppose at the end of the day, it's a little bit slower in terms of getting your economy going than a Hatch First, but it's just barely. So very similar builds, and I think you're going to see these guys on very even footing as the game progresses. We see Zenio getting his gas at about the same time as Sin. So.
So once more about their regular season performance. As I said, Sen went 6-2. He only lost 2 games. He lost against Gonzi, which was 2-1. I remember that series as well with that game on Shattered Temple where the Banshees and the Hellions. Tra-la-la-la-la, I remember it vaguely. And he also lost against Hawk, but that was a walkover. So he didn't actually really lose those games. I was very sad about that on that moment. I remember that because I was so excited for Sen versus Hawk. I thought it was going to be awesome. And then unfortunately Sen, as we said, he's an excellent sleeper besides a great Starcraft player. He overslept.
Yeah, he definitely. Well, it's true, man. We would come into the office and Sin would be sitting in front of a computer with his feet up in another chair, and we'd be like, "Oh, he's watching StarCraft or playing StarCraft." And you walk over and you look at him, and his eyes are closed. He's just sleeping, man. He would just pass out for hours at a time. You mentioned that Zenio was walked over by Huck in the regular season. It's actually, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, Sen lost against Huck by walkover.
Okay. Well, anyway, the point that I was going to make is it's just an interesting point. Huck had a lot of walkover wins this season, and it's one of the big reasons why he was like so uncontested, finishing first in that group.
That is correct. But he also played very well despite that rough start against Trelloc. Anyways, Zenio finished the season 5-3. He lost against Puma, TT1 and Cloud. But as we mentioned before, he did beat the 2 Zerg opponents in his group, Stefano and Heypro. That's definitely worth mentioning. We see Sen right now moving out with 2 queens, positioning them right below the Overlord before they start shooting at it. And they should be able to take out this Overlord, right?
Yeah, right? Queens are faster than Overlords. And, oh, wow! Well, if he continues to commit there, he should. Wow, that's a bummer. Yeah, and he actually stands to lose this queen if he goes out too far.
No, he's gonna get it easy. Queens are actually like surprisingly fast. All I see is a blur when queens start rolling. You know what I actually think would be a cool future for queens? Maybe not a good balanced one, but if queens gain movement speed over time, you know, they start off slow, but then they get more and more speed. Anyway, Zenio is going to make some aggression right now with quite a few links. Picks up the first queen straight away. A couple of banelings are morphing for Sendo.
Really so beautiful positioning on these banelings. They're going to block the ramp, and while he's going to lose a couple of drones, whoa, no detonation there. It's going to be okay for Sin. He actually comes out of this with a bit of a lead. Zenio committed a lot of larva to Zerglings instead of drones, and because of that, he's a little bit behind. Sin's going to have a faster layer, And I think, well, actually, I have no idea how Sin's going to play this. He's just on 2 gas. All right, 2 more gases going down. So it is looking more and more like Sin wants to play some Mutalisks in the mid game.
We'll see. I kind of love watching Muta in ZVZ. It can be very fun. And I certainly love to see how other Zerg players deal with it, because if my ZVZ's ban, I often have some issues with it. Once the infestors are out, of course, your life is going to be a lot easier. And then the player who plays with Mutalisks is going to have to be super careful, because as we all know, Mutas are one big happy family and they like to clump up. And against Fungals, that's not really what you want to have.
Doesn't look like Zenio has any intentions of going up to layer at all. He's getting +1 and starting some roach. Oh wait, I'm a liar. Layer starts as soon as I say it. So I guess those are just some safety roaches. Maybe he felt like
Liar.
he was in a well, he never got to see the main base of Sin because he was blocking so well. So perhaps just getting those roaches out just in case of some counter aggression from Sin. In fact, what we're going to see is that Spire going down, and it's going down at a really good time. I think this is going to be a really strong mid game for Sin.
Yeah, there is not an Overlord anywhere for Zenio. Maybe once his layer is ready, he's going to upgrade this Overlord into an Overseer, and then he will be able to get a peek in the main base. But by then, the Spire is going to be pretty much ready.
Yep, Sin just taking his 3rd base as this Spire goes down. Zenio can't really do much about it. And when these mutas come out, Sin's going to have so much map control, man. He's going to be able to kill a ton of Overlords. I mean, Zenio's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Overlords out on the map. And I mean, they're all going to die at some point.
Sen does have that Overseer ready already. He's going to try to take a peek into the main base of Zenio. He's going to spot some links. He's going to spot the amount of drones.
Zergling action at the 3rd base. Ling's going to try and pressure this hatch. They're going to get some roach kills. Nice little bit of harass here from Sin. Ultimately, these Lings are going to get cleaned up, but not before they kill a handful of roaches, and I think that was well worth it.
Yeah, he could have picked off 1 more roach. He only needed 1 or 2 more hits. 11 more roaches on the way right now for Zenio. Zenio a little bit nervous. He sees all these Zerglings, but he has no idea that the real thing that he has to worry about, man, are all these Mutas that are about to pop for Sen. Well, about to pop. He's going to start them right now. He's going to start 10 or 11 right at a time.
It's going to be a really, really powerful transition straight into those mutas. Overseer for Zenio is going to poke into the main just in time, and will spot that there's a Spire on the way. And
can be pleased with that. Immediately he starts the Spore Crawler, so a nice reaction right there by Zenio, but I think they're going to be able to do quite some damage, man, because it's not a handful of mutas, it's going to be 10 immediately, and I think Stan might be able to get a couple more.
Yeah, and the strength of the Muta isn't even necessarily its ability to harass. It just takes away all the map control from Zenio, and it means Zenio can't really be aggressive until he's got some kind of answer to the Mutas. He is getting upgrades. He is continuing to power his economy, and he's going to be fairly safe. I don't think that he's going to lose much. I think Zenio just killed one of his own drones. Anyway, that's incidental. Misclicking as he was moving some roaches. Mutas are going to come out, and they're going to see all these queens and be like, all right, I can't do anything about that. So let's now clean up the map. Let's get all the overlords off the map. Let's take away my opponent's vision, and let's lock down map control.
One thing is for sure, Zenio is not going to be able to attack without infestors or some decent anti-air for a long time. He's going to try to go for a small Ling, run by one bailing of Sen. He's going to get a very good detonation. Right, that takes off 6-7 Zerglings in the process. Sen's economy, man. Well, actually, Zenio's economy is very good as well. 64 against 63. I had a feeling that Sen squeezed out more drones than Zenio did.
Both guys are transitioning very well. The thing that worries me a bit is that Sen is slower with the infestors. He's got no upgrades to fall back on.
Nice burrow move right burrow used right there by Zenio. Sen is going to go for a run by into the main base. Maybe pick up a sport.
Infestors are there. They burrow right away. So very well done.
Wow, Zenio's playing really good Starcraft right now.
Oh, but there's an Overseer there. Great play by Sin. Managed to pick off those 2 infestors. Zerglings are getting a few kills over in the main mineral line, getting, I think, a grand total of 3 drone kills there.
Wow, those reactions from either side, man. Perfect play. Perfect burrows by Zenio. Nice run by Sen, bringing in the Overseer. Very smart as well, thinking ahead of what could potentially happen. And now 18 roaches on the way for Sen as well.
Yeah, but Sen's going to be down in upgrades, Kevin. This is kind of what worries me. I mean, the Muta switch back into roaches, it's just what you do, but Zenio was so ahead with his +1, +2. His infestors are so much faster that I'm a bit concerned that when there is a big fight, Zenio's army is just going to be superior.
There's no Spore Crawler here, but there are infestors, so Sen has to be careful.
Oh, big catch.
Does land.
And there's enough energy for one more, but...
more infestors are nearby.
Oh, Sen is playing with fire, and he's actually going to continue to dance in here. He's not too concerned about losing these mutas, and...
the Overlord does finally fell, but that Overlord had his final destination a long time ago, man.
Yeah,
he tried to escape death, but don't cheat death. I've seen movies. Goes wrong.
few drone kills in exchange for like 5 Mutalisks. That's not a good trade for Sin. He's going to make 11 drones right now, and that is a very dangerous move, as we can see only units in production for Zenio. He's got his Hydras coming out. It's going to be Roach, Hydra, and Fester. That is a brutal middle-late game army.
But pretty much the same thing for Sen, though.
Minus
Sen doesn't
the
have
Hydras.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The Hydras give so much extra damage output.
But if the Fungals land well on the Hydras, they're going to die really quick, too.
Where are Sin's Infestors? Okay, he's got 5 that are about to pop out. He is getting his own Infestation Pit. He's just a little bit behind in every way, Kev. Supplies a little bit lower, upgrades a little bit slower.
He's going to try to cancel this base, which is so risky. Imagine if he would have got Fungals, because those Infestors are getting on the way. But Sen is aware of that. Zenio's army is bigger right now, way bigger. He's up 30 army supply, and that's not something that you can really overcome in a ZvZ fight. I mean, Fungals are important, but 30 supply?
Well, it's positional. I mean, if Zenio takes a bad fight, then Fungal can totally change that. But oh!
I mean, Sen is producing a ton of units right now. We can see that he's catching up in supply rapidly with Zenio. And then it is going to come down to Fungals. I like that, Fungal.
Okay, Fungal, but if he's going to force a fight, I think it's going to be a losing fight, because he's very, very clumped up, and great Fungals coming out from Zenio. He does have Hydras in that army, which means he's going to do a lot more damage.
Yeah, beautiful positioning as well by Zenio.
This is what I was worried about for Sin. He takes a pretty bad fight. He's got 20 more Roaches in production, but right now his army on the ground is substantially worse than Zenio's.
And the biggest thing is the economy of Zenio's is just completely uncontended. He's taking that fort base as well, and that's going to matter really a lot.
And again, Sin going to try to take a good fight. Fungal goes down, but it's not a great Fungal. Roaches.
Well, it's going to come in from behind as well.
And these Mutas adding a little bit of damage, and importantly, absorbing a lot of damage. More Hydras coming in. They add so much to this army, but only if there's Roaches there to block for him. And actually, Zenio getting turned around.
Oh, wow.
Sin with the supply lead does not chase.
It's a pretty sick hold by Sen.
Great hold by Sin, and now he's sitting at 176 supply against about 170. So small lead for Sin. Economically, 78 drones to 77.
2-1 upgrades for Liquid Zenio right now, Ben. 2-2 is on the way for Sen, though, and 2-1 is almost ready. So Sen is going to get the upgrade advantage in roughly 60 seconds or so.
And very smartly, Sin burrows all of those damaged Roaches, heals them up to full health.
Yeah.
First Hydras are coming out for Sin, so he's beginning to, in my opinion, take a bit of a lead. I would love to see him consider going up to Hive and maybe building some Ultras, even though his upgrades don't really scream build Ultras. They're just so good. Ultralisk Infestor just murders Roach.
I actually really thought that like Hydra Roach would have been able to do decently against Ultras until I watched Ben play a few games, and even when you were behind and you get a couple of Ultras out, suddenly you crush the entire army. I was like,
Yeah, Ultralisks
Ultra
with Infestors are just so incredibly good, and it's kind of, I think it's the ultimate future of ZvZ.
Ben, a couple of crouching banelings on the right side of the map. Nah, they wouldn't, would they?
No, Spine Crawlers are in a good position, and a couple drones take some damage, but none of them will die. Sin taking very, very good care to split up his army and engage from a big angle, and Zenio's clumping up dangerously. Infestors are way too exposed to these Roaches, and Zenio loses a lot of very valuable Infestors, and Sin's going to continue to push forward. Fungal's going down. Hydras and Roaches fighting against Hydras and Roaches. Sin's whole army is not there, though. Some of it's fighting Spine Crawlers still. He's got a much better concave and a huge supply lead. Zenio forced to retreat all the way back to his third base. Means that he's probably going to lose this fourth. Yes, Sin is going to turn around and just take out this fourth.
Sen is so good at Starcraft.
Excellent play from Sin, not missing a beat with the macro, and this expansion is going to get cleaned up. Very well done by the Taiwanese Zerg representing the Gamma Bears. Zenio going to come try and pick another fight, but still he's got the smaller army. Although, I mean, it's never okay to lose drones, but oh, never mind. He had so many. The work account's still very even. I was going to say that sometimes when you've got a maxed out army, if you lose a lot of workers, it can actually tip it in your favor.
The good thing for Zenio is, Ben, he still has 7 Infestors. Sen only has 3, so in the long run, maybe at the next fight, if both players are maxed out, Zenio is going to have way more Fungals than Sen, because obviously they're able to collect energy now already. Sen right now has 2-2. 2-2 is almost ready for Zenio. Of course, it's all going to come down to positioning, but I think the higher Infestor count, Sen does just get 2 additional Infestors, but Zenio is still up to. That might actually work in favor of Zenio.
And both players have Hive, and we've got +3 upgrades starting on both sides.
Sen has an overwhelming amount of Hydras. He has 22 Hydras.
Yeah, that's absolutely brutal.
But against all those Fungals, maybe?
It kind of depends on how clumped up Sin is. If you're really, really clumped, then Fungal's way better. But if you're not clumped, Hydra's just... The damage output of Hydras is just absurd. And Sin is doing a really good job of positioning this intelligently. A big fungal does go down, but those Hydras really clumped up at the bottom half, and here comes another big fungal, but just look at how fast these Hydras kill roaches. Good fungals everywhere, and this is a big fight. Huge concave here on both sides. Looks like actually Zenio does get the better exchange there.
Yeah, it's like Zenio's winning on the top, but Sen is winning at the bottom with all those Hydras. Burrowed and Infested coming in for support as well. Both players are maxed out, but that's only because of the units they're producing right now. 30 roaches and 18 Hydras in production, and Sen still has money.
Yep, 3-3 in production for Sin. Zenio not getting that armor upgrade just yet means that Sin will have
Sen is so rich,
a period of time when he's well ahead. He is very rich. And I would still love to see an Ultralisk Cavern. You don't need many, man. Just 3 or 4 Ultras can really brutalize a Roach Ball. And we can see that Zenio is focusing almost solely on roaches. 37 roaches and 10 Hydras to 24 roaches and 28 Hydras of Sin. Looks like Zenio managed to snipe off. No, wait. Did he? I guess Zin's just trying to... Sin is just trying to secure this expansion on the bottom right. Look how clumped these Hydras are. Got to be very careful, Sin. Huge fungals from Zenio. Whoa. And does he have enough energy for more? He actually does not. And we'll see if these Hydras are able to... no, Sin just going to disengage, staying...
If
ahead in
Zenio
supply.
only had the same amount of infestors as he had in the previous fight, man, those were the dream fungals that they really needed against that big group of Hydras that Sen has. Greatest Spire is on the way right now for Sen. Zenio has a hive tech too, so he's probably aiming for the same thing.
Interesting choice to go Greater Spire. Broodlords are very, very good. It's the ultimate in-game fighting unit for Zerg, but it's very immobile and it can be...
No, Ben, it's Roach.
And you know, if you commit too much supply into Broodlords, you can often find yourself getting base raced against.
That's why you should go Roach.
You're actually not wrong. First Corruptors in production for Sin. These are going to allow him to begin that transition up towards Broodlords. A little bit of roach harass happening down here in the bottom right. Cute use of tunneling claws by Zenio.
Yeah, both players have used Burrow excellently. Zenio's going to try to make something happen right now. He has to be careful though, because when you engage, units always clump up.
Oh, super clumped on both sides. Great fungals by Zenio, doing heavy amounts of damage to the army of Sin. And I think this is a much better fight for Zenio. Look at the fungal just ripping through the Hydra's. Sin supply is plummeting. Down below 150, he's got a lot of supply in the reload. 9 Hydras, 5 Roaches, but he loses that fight handily. And I think that might even be GG, just getting crushed there because he was so clumped up.
He easily has the money to remax though, and that's what he's starting to do right now. He actually wants to free up some supply, I guess. Well, he didn't want to
free up 70 supply?
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, he could have remaxed quicker, but he wants to leave some supply free for those Broodlords. And that's exactly what is happening right now. Obviously, it was not his intention to lose his entire army like that.
A couple burrowed roaches going to come over to the third.
That came out very well.
Third base is Sin. Sin does manage to reload, like you said, and the first broods are out. And they're going to add a lot of fighting strength to this army, and they're positioned well on that high ground. That immediately forces Zenio to back off. Zenio also producing Corruptors. Sin's really trying to force a fight here.
All the infestors are in the backband, so maybe if he's able to sandwich his army, he can kind of put it on the lockdown.
Really crazy ZVZ that we're seeing.
Oh, no, he's actually going for the Broodlords straight away, I guess. He knows the Broodlords are
so exposed, and they're going to fall. They're absolutely going to fall. Sin, meanwhile, is going to come back from behind. Going to try to get a good flank. And actually, Zenio getting caught in an awkward spot. Throws down some good fungals. Broodlords well positioned over that high ground, and Zenio this time is the one that's going to get crushed. Sin staying maxed. Zenio dipping down to about 160 supply. Immediately starts up 12 roaches and 9 infestors, but will they pop out in time?
God.
I think Zenio's probably going to lose a base before he can get reinforcements out.
This is what you happen, man, when both players are making brilliant moves on either side. It's just too much.
Corruptors show up to try to deal with the Broodlords, but Sin, controlling his Hydras very, very intelligently, positions them in such a way that the Corruptors can't really fight the Broods. Broods raining down on this expansion, raining down on the army of Zenio. Corruptors trying to do some damage, but it's just not happening. Both these guys reinforcing very, very aggressively. Sin's forgotten about 10 Hydras back on his creep, but other than that, he's got a huge army bearing down on Zenio, and Infestors do pop out, but Infested Terran and Fungal alone, I don't think is going to change anything.
I mean, for this fight, I think Zenio is going to be fine, Ben, but he took a lot of damage, and he's not as rich anymore as he once upon a time was. Economic crisis even hits Liquid Zenio. But I'm just speechless, man. I'm really blown away by the level of this ZVZ. Both players are playing so phenomenal, and it's so back and forth. I just want to be silent and let people enjoy this art.
180 supply for Sin. Zenio at about 140, going to try to retake the expansion that he just lost. Sin has also taken new bases, and he's got this bottom right expansion mining, and everything's looking pretty good for Sin at this point. He has maxed out once again, and he will push once more on this right-hand expansion of Zenio.
A lot of infestors for Zenio on the map right now, Ben. Zenio has 11 infestors. Sen only has 3. He's going to spawn a lot of infested terrans. That can be everything. Nope, this is everything. Should be enough to at least take out those spine crawlers and maybe even the hedge.
We will see. Sin not reacting to this at all.
Well,
Spine's going down very, very quickly, and Sin's...
I was second-guessing myself, but I think I was right.
I think Sin's choice is just going to be to try and counterattack. Infested Terrans are going to pick off this hatch. And, well, Sin says, okay, if you're going to be like that, I'm just going to go after your third base.
If you want to play like that, fine.
And Zenio's really not positioned well to deal with this. And I think he's absolutely going to lose this third. And what does he do? Is he just going to sit up here on this high ground? I mean, that army can't really come down.
The biggest problem is he just spent a ton of energy as well on his infestors, and he knows he has to be careful with the infestors because Sen has that overseers all game long. He actually doesn't have an overseer right now.
Roach counter in the bottom right means that Zenio's going to kill all of Sin's mining bases. Oh, craziness happening right now. 194 supply against 150. Sin has lost all of his income, though. Oh, nice fight here by Zenio, managing to catch some units out of position. And no fungal going down, but still Zenio realizing that Sin does not have an economy anymore and is only going to be able to build a few more units before he's in critical trouble, although...
And Sen is so split up right now, Ben. A lot of units are in the main base. Actually, Sen is going to lose this fight over here. And if Sen is going to lose this fight over here, then Zenio is the one making another remarkable comeback in this game.
Zenio's going to try to close in on these units from behind. He's got some energy for fungal, but the first one only hits infestors. That was a kind of a... Oh, and there's a beautiful fungal by Sin. Probably wants to bring this army back to so that he can actually engage Zenio very close. 150 supply to about 120 supply. Sin is completely broke.
Talking about 2 key infestors. If Sen doesn't have those 2 infestors with 200 energy, it makes Zenio's life so much easier. Zenio's going to try to do it once more, though. This time he lands pretty good fungals in a
huge fight, and army supply is so even, but if Zenio wins this, I don't know that Zen can rebuild again.
I think Zenio will win this fight. There's another fight going on the right side of the map, which is so incredibly even, Ben. This is without a doubt one of the best ZVZs I've seen in my life.
Roach is really trying to shut down the mining at Zenio's right side expansion. 70 supply to 90 supply. Sin not really able to mine at all. He's retaking a base that's almost mined out. Army supply tells the tale that Zenio is actually 20 supply ahead.
And still 7 infestors in life as well. He's going to pick off a couple of these drones right now from Sen. That's not the end of the world for Sen, even though he doesn't have many of them. Ooh, be careful with the units, Zenio. Oh, Sen could have landed the fungal there. That's like the first mistake I've seen in this 32-minute ZVZ.
Yep, a couple roaches dying. Oh, Sin's going to pick off some infestors with these roaches. That was an excellent exchange. But Zenio still has a very high infestor count. Well, no, it's actually 5 infestors for Zenio against 6 infestors for Sin.
Do you think it's good for Zenio to sit back right now, Ben? He has
I think he's got to go, man. He's got the army supply lead, but he's not going to have it for long, and Sin's mining again. Zenio has to be aware of that.
Yeah, Zenio is aware of that. He scouted it with the 4 roaches, and Sen has a ton of drones. Zenio has the bigger army. Sen has more drones right now. Zenio, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, the clock is ticking. Zenio's got to go. A very epic back-and-forth game.
Oh, this game is so good.
Overseer's going to allow Zenio to pick off these drones in the bottom right, but... I just don't know. It's 100 supply against 80, 66 army supply against 52. A lot of Sin supply is in production.
I think Zenio is going for it, Ben. I think he's realizing the situation that he's in. I think he knows that Sen has way more drones than he does. So if he just sits back, he's going to fall behind eventually. How many the infested count
but
is in
Sin has a massive advantage in that he's got he's the defending player, and he can just sit back and fungal and reinforce. Very hard to come up a ramp without clumping, and I don't think it's actually possible.
Go for the main base. He doesn't have to attack the new base.
If he could get up Sin's ramp and force Sin to come back, then that could maybe change things. Very
Sen,
tough
of course,
spot
has
to be in.
a lot more vision right now. Zenio can take this on like West side, but Sen has all these cryptomas, which are oh so important right now. Have you ever seen cryptomas being so crucial in ZVZ, Ben?
Absolutely pivotal, providing valuable information, allowing Sin to see the movement of Zenio. Zenio
has to make something happen, and he's going to try to make it happen.
Infested Terran's going to go down. Fungal's going off on the Infested Terrans. Both players with crazy engagements, and this is just a mass of units against a mass of units. Sin with 95 supply. Zenio supply falling rapid. It looks like Sin does have the better engagement, and Zenio forced to back off. we can see that he wasn't fighting with a handful of his units, and he's going to lose those guys that were left behind. And I do think that that might be the engagement that wins this game for Sin. Army supply.
It's pretty even, man.
50 to 46, but the income.
It's actually pretty even too, which is weird. Yeah, I don't know. Don't ask.
Sin's expanding again.
And now Sen is going to be the one attacking. Sen does have 30 supply more, but it's mostly drones, so he has very low energy on most of his infestors.
And his Hydra is only against Roach Hydra, and that's not the best because Hydras die so fast. Transfusion's being used by Zenio to keep this army fighting. And now Sin is the guy that's being forced to retreat. These Hydras off creepers so slow, and Roach is giving chase, doing good damage. Reinforcements have arrived. And Zenio realizing that he's got to back off once again. Holy hell, what a ZVZ we're seeing right now. Army supplies still virtually identical. Sin is expanding on Zenio's creep.
Those creep tumors are not yours, Sen.
Hey bro, I got a base in your base. What are you going to do about it?
It's so even in income. I mean, Zenio's not mining gas, but he banked up so much gas that he didn't really have to. It's just nuts. It's so extremely close. Zenio is actually 10 supply up right now, and Sen only has 1 infestor, and Sen is super low on extractors.
Yeah, has no gas.
He mined out all the yeah, he's low on extractors, but what I want to say is that he's low on gas. And he actually mined out his base now as well, Ben, and I'm sure that Zenio can mine longer from that base.
Oh, Sin sees his army in transit. Sick one fungal wasted on just a single roach.
Sick fungal, man.
Oh, Sin has the advantage of fighting from behind site blockers, but with Corruptors there, I don't know that it matters. Sin looks like he has the better army here. Spinecrawler is also rooting, absorbing damage, and when they finish, they're going to deal a lot of damage. Great fights on both sides, but Zenio says no thank you. Backs up outside of the range of the spines, and Sin says, oh, got to back up to the spines. Still an incredibly tense, close fight. Zenio using more transfusion, has the larger army by a substantial margin.
But 3 Spinecrawlers can help out. Can they make the difference, man?
Oh, Corruptors doing what they can. Roaches and Hydras working beautifully together, and Sin's going to bring his drones. All going to come down to this, the final fight. Sin bringing everything that he has supply-wise.
Picks up the Queen, picks up quite a few drones.
Almost identical, and the drones are going to be the heroes, Kev. Sin can lose drones, Zenio can't. And Sin has pushed Zenio back once again. Income tab shows us that Sin 26 drones to 15. He's barely up a base because he's now mined out that that 9 o'clock expansion, and this game's still going.
This is the best ZVZ I've ever seen.
70 supply for Sin against 50 supply for Zenio.
It's ridiculous.
But I think Sin has finally pulled far enough ahead. GG comes out of Zenio realizing that he's not going to salvage this game. Sin takes game number 1.
I would have loved to see him try
that. Wow. The playoffs are here.
I don't even want to analyze this game, Ben.
There's nothing to analyze. It was just great play against great play. When 2 fantastic players meet, the result is something like this. Cannot wait for game number 2. Short commercial break, guys, and we'll be back with more Zenio versus Sin.